Hey guys, how's it going? My name is Max. Welcome to today's airsofting video. So, I will be reviewing another new gun that I recently received in my unboxing video, if you guys want to check that out. It's totally epic. It's where I got my Mad Max double barrel airsoft shotgun, and I also got this bad boy too. This is the King Arms M79, which is in this box right now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to review this thing to the T, and again I'm going to show you basically everything that this gun has to offer in as much of an in-depth review as I possibly can offer. So again, then you'll know if it's something that's worth buying or not, again, depending on what you're looking for in this gun. So anyway, I hope you guys enjoy. We'll get right into this review. Okay, so before I get into anything here, I want to show you guys the box because pretty much this is what you're going to come across as soon as you unbox this thing. So again, you can see it's very nicely packaged, very nice quality box by King Arms. Again, they did a very awesome job with, again, presenting their product. They wanted to ensure that it came in as good as quality as possible. Again, very nice quality. You can kind of see that my double barrel shotgun there is photo bombing a little bit, but we'll let it happen. So now we'll get into opening this thing and showing the contents. Okay, so showed the box. Now let's get into this thing. So I'm going to start that process. We're going to flip it over. So you're going to get a ton of this padding here. So it comes in like 2 layers basically. And then, of course, you have what you really wanted to open up here. So, the M79. Observe the beauty of it. It is just incredible. So, before I get into the gun review, so there's nothing really else in the box. They essentially just pack you the gun in here only, and I'll get into that in just a few minutes here. Okay, so now we got what we wanted here, and again, it is the M79 grenade launcher by King Arms. So again, just embrace the beauty of this amazing grenade launcher. It is just incredible. I mean, it's just really amazing. You open up the box and you see this beautiful thing. It's just you're kind of in awe because it's just incredibly amazing. It's so well made. I just have to mention that. Again, it's very beautiful. So I'm going to start first by talking about the exterior portion and basically what it's all about and what it's made out of. Okay, so the gun itself is made out of, first, this beautiful wood. I mean, it is just incredible on the quality. It's very smooth and it's very well made. I mean, you could even take a look. It's crafted so perfectly. Again, we have some wood here. For the actual butt pad here, it's actually rubberized, so that is a big chunk of rubber in the back. Now, a good portion of this is also all metal. You will not find a single piece of plastic on this thing other than the orange tip for those of you that are US customers, so that is something that I already removed off of this. But again, you basically have the trigger and the trigger guard are all metal. You have your safety, you have your I guess bolt release. I'm not quite sure on that. Please correct me. Again, that's metal. The entire outer barrel is metal. The sights are metal. Then you have your hand grip here, which is wood, and then you have your loops here, which again are also made out of metal. And again, everything in this construction is wood, metal, and a bit of the rubber that's on the back here. So that's what you're going to feel right out of the box on this thing, and it is just amazing. So in my hand, I have basically the projectile that this M79 grenade launcher uses. So this is a 40mm grenade launcher, or a grenade shell, I guess. I'm sorry, not a grenade launcher. It holds approximately 60 BBs. You would charge it here at the top, and then the pin on the back to fire it is right here. So basically the hammer in the back will press right on that valve to release the gas and eject the BBs out basically in just a spray. Now, the unfortunate thing with this gun is it does not come with any shells. this is going to have to be a separate add-on for you if you're trying to buy this gun. So do not buy just the gun expecting the shell. It will not come with it. You are going to have to buy a separate shell for this. This shell was right around, I think, like 50 bucks or so, maybe a little less, but somewhere in the $40–50 range when I bought it with this gun. Now this gun can fit a majority of shells as long as they're basically the same diameter, the 40mm. So you can buy like those rubber bullets, you can buy those weird looking projectiles, basically anything that's, you know, this same size will fit into the M79, which again, Evike has a ton of different things you can use. I just went with a regular 60 round grenade launcher shell, nothing too crazy. Now if we wanted to put the shell into the actual gun itself, so you're gonna just flip this top here basically to the right if you're looking at the gun, and then it opens up like so. So here's the gun opened up. Now just one thing, and I'm saying this as a warning, watch your fingers here. Watch it, and I mean watch it. You will get a nasty pinch if you catch your finger anywhere here. I'm already a victim of it, so just kind of my announcement to you guys, if you're handling this thing without gloves or anything, just watch it. If you try to badass close this really hard and your finger's in the way, you're gonna be just in pain. Anyway, so here's the opening of the actual M79. You have this little piece right here, which pretty much just goes in and out. This is pretty much your guide, and this is where the lip of the actual shell is going to sit on. So you have to kind of, when you put the shell in, you can see that now it's kind of stuck on that lip here. So that's how it's supposed to go in, because then that'll ensure that the M79 is going to close properly with your shell. So when we close it now, it basically locks everything in and you're good to go. Now, let me show you another kind of thing you may come across with this gun. So you see how the shell was caught on the lip there? If you put it in and it doesn't catch that lip, if we try to close this, this piece has nowhere to go because the shell is going to be obstructing its path. So you'll basically come across this and it's not going to close. So to avoid breaking anything, just be careful with how you load this thing, because that can definitely happen, and then that can cause you problems and break your gun. And again, this one definitely isn't cheap, so it's again something you really want to be careful with when you are loading your airsoft grenade launcher shell. So once you have your grenade launcher shell in the actual gun, you're going to notice there's a lot of resistance when you are pulling that trigger. The trigger itself is already really heavy when there is no gas in the shell. I'm going to say without the gas in the shell, the trigger pull probably is like maybe 2 pounds maybe. But with the shell, it basically is like 3 pounds, I swear. That's what it feels like to me, because, you know, a few times where I'm firing this thing, I'm like, is the trigger on safety or what? But it's just, you really need to squeeze that trigger really hard to engage the shell and for it to fire the BBs. So something you'll notice when you're first firing it. Now, going again with the trigger here, so you have your trigger guard, and it is actually a trigger guard that swivels left or right, which is kind of cool. It's definitely beneficial if you have like really bulky gloves too. So if you press this button in the front here, it basically goes in like so, and then you can swivel your trigger guard. So now it opens up the trigger basically. And again, it just kind of ensures if you have like a big glove or you have something, you know, obstructing it, you can even use 2 fingers if you wanted to pull that trigger, you can. Especially I feel like if you use this in the game a lot, your finger is going to get really tired and probably bruised up. So it could even be beneficial for you to use two fingers to pull the trigger. Now again, this trigger guard swivels in both the left and the right direction, so it's whichever way is really your preference. And then to reset it back to the home position, same thing, it'll just kind of click right in, and now you're back to it being pretty much exactly how it was. So that's the trigger. So next thing that we have on this thing is the sights. So you're going to be presented with this really just complicated looking monstrosity on the top, which in my opinion, I don't know why this thing would need any sights when basically just sprays everywhere. I could see it makes sense, of course, on the real one, but you know, on the airsoft version, it doesn't quite make sense to me. But again, it's there. It's the realism factor, so I totally understand. I'm all about realism. So right now I have it basically set down. So if I wanted to lift this up, you're going to have this where it's just stuck. There is actually a button here on the side, which is right where my index finger is, that you push down. So I'm going to use this hand and just push this down. So now I can swivel this up until it locks in place like so. So here now you have your sights up, and then of course you can adjust them however you please. Of course it makes more sense on the real one. But you have this little dial here, which then moves this, this middle bracket. So if we were to unscrew this to make it looser, you'll see that now it's basically in free floating where you can adjust it wherever you want to adjust it. You'll notice too, I'm going to show you, there are numbers on this as well. So you can kind of see, and as best as I can show you, they're basically like, I think it's like 100, 200, 300 or something like that. So that's, you know, numbers there. It's just based on distance. So again, depending on the distance, of course, on the real one, you'll adjust your sights as so. And then you do actually have your front sights here as well. And then basically you can see the sights on this. So probably make more sense to bring them all the way on the bottom if you're trying to just shoot downrange, for example. Or maybe you could even raise them up like this, just a little bit. And then that'll end up being a bit more accurate. But again, don't really know how much you're going to use these things, because when you're in an airsoft game, you're probably just going to spray and pray and basically just fire in the enemy's direction, again, to make sure that you get them. But so that's the sights. Nothing too crazy, nothing too complex there. And then again, that's kind of what the back end of it looks like if you're viewing the sights. Okay, so now let's talk trademarks, price, FPS, and other miscellaneous information. So, trademarks, there is not a single one on this thing. Nothing. You won't notice a single trademark. So again, I don't expect there to be. I don't think even the real one has anything, to be quite honest. I don't know much information on the real one in terms of trademarks, but again, the airsoft version, nothing there. Price-wise, so I purchased this on evike.com. They have it selling for about $280. Again, just the gun only, $280. And then I actually had a 25% off coupon that I used towards this, so I managed to save, you know, definitely a good amount there. So I would take advantage of those coupons, because this is one that's not map protected on their website. So again, that's good considering a lot of their stuff is coupon protected, so this one is not, so take advantage in case they change that. So again, $280 retail price, and then I got it for maybe, I don't know what 25% is of $280, but probably closer to $250 or something like that, or $260 that I end up paying for this. Of course, then you have the addition of the shell too. Depending on what shell you want, could range from $30 to $60. Again, all depends on the shell and what you're looking for. Now, FPS, this was kind of unique. It's very hard, first of all, to measure FPS on this thing because it sprays. There's no inner barrel, as you guys can see. It's just a giant opening, and you can kind of tell in there just a little bit that you can see the tip of the shell kind of glistening in the light. There's no inner barrel, so the FPS wouldn't even work. The chrono that I have, the opening is like probably this small, and you're going to damage your chrono if you do it, so don't do it. The FPS on this probably is maybe 200-300 FPS. I don't quite know, to be honest with you. Depends on how many BBs you really have in there. If you have like 60 BBs filled up, it's probably like 100 FPS or something. This thing is really like close quarter spray, basically. It's not something you can get somebody from like 80 or 100 feet away, so don't think of it as something like that. Unless you have a single projectile, then that's probably a different story. But anyway, most of you are probably going to get BBs as opposed to a actual projectile. So again, FPS unfortunately is not there, and you can't really get a whole lot of information in terms of the velocity. But that, for the most part, will conclude my review of the King Arms M79. again, this thing is just gorgeous. It is very well crafted, very epic, and I just love it. I mean, it's something that you'll love too, especially if you're collecting airsoft guns like myself. You know, this one's definitely something that I've always wanted to have in my collection, and finally it's here. So be on the lookout for some shooting demos. Again, I do my shooting reviews as separate videos just because I like to do informative segments and verbal talking first, and then the actual shooting, and then kind of tack on more info there with my experience. But anyway, guys, I hope that you enjoyed watching this video today. Again, if you love airsoft content, please subscribe, please like this video, comment if you have any questions, and just check out my playlist. I upload a ton of airsoft stuff, and cool stuff like this especially. You know, I love to review and get really unique airsoft guns, which a lot of others probably won't dabble too much into. So this is going to be one of those channels where you're going to find those obscure airsoft guns that nobody really thought about or ever wanted, but might have interest. So again, that's my channel. Thank you so much for watching this video. Appreciate your time, and have a great day. I'm going to go have some fun with this thing now.